been a rough week.
We're going to talk about being healthy,
Your
and
environment.
environment. How do we, we always think about, I want to be healthy. I want to have money. I want this. I want that. But unless we plan on doing it, unless we plan on it and make it happen, it won't happen. It doesn't happen by accident. It takes effort, it takes thought, it takes planning. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and go over a couple other things that some people brought up last month. They kind of wanted to talk a little bit about. So we're going to kind of do that. But we're going to start out with a video. And the video is done by Dr. Wally Nelson. And for those of you who've been around a while, he is the son of, already know that he's the son of Dr. Linda Nelson, who developed Melise. And he has kind of picked it up and taken over for the most part. But he did a video that we thought was pretty interesting. And so Patty set this up, and we're going to play that. And after we do, then we're going to open it up and we're going to talk about it. Okay. So without further ado,
Okay, fingers crossed that this works, people.
you might want to mute yourselves.
Creating an environment for growth. So as we approach our new year, I'm sure
Can everybody hear it? Awesome.
everyone's beginning to think about their New Year's resolutions and what precisely they want to accomplish over the next several months, over the next year, to take wherever their life is right now and move it rapidly and noticeably in the direction of where they want their life to be, which is someplace better than right now in some aspect, maybe many aspects within your life. And as we're all ready to embark on this and move into our New Year's resolutions, I want to talk about something that can be literally the make or break, that can make all the difference on whether you are able to successfully make those New Year's resolution changes that you're committed to, and whether you are able to stick with them, and the positive results that you are working so hard to push, to swim upstream, to try to create in your life. Are those results going to take place? Are they going to take root in your life? Are they going to stick? Are they going to get you to the place that you want to be? Or are they going to filter, fizzle out, and not really make a whole lot of impact? And as we're sitting here on this video next year, after you've taken those efforts of the New Year's resolutions that are coming, are you going to be sitting in a better place? Or will your environment have torn down your efforts and put you right back where you're starting? And so let's talk about the environment, because the environment sometimes makes all the difference. No matter how good our plan is, no matter how wildly positive our intentions are, no matter how much effort we pour into our resolutions and the positive changes we want to make, our environment sometimes can be so powerful and so overwhelming that can derail everything we're trying to do. It reminds me actually of a story from many years ago as I was just getting into gardening. You guys know I am a fanatic for eating superfoods, for eating those foods which are the most supportive of a vibrant and healthy life, that have the most nutrition, they're most nutritionally dense, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, everything that I wanted to chase in my diet in order to be really, really healthy. And I got an idea that I wanted to garden, and I wanted to personally grow a lot of these superfoods that contain that concentrated nutrition there at my home, so that I'd have them on hand. I could walk right out into the backyard. I could pick them knowing exactly how they'd been cared for, knowing that there was none of the garbage and junk that could move me backwards existing in those foods. And so I laid out and planted a whole garden. And one of the real key pieces for me in that, of one of the most potent superfoods that exists, is blueberries. I happen to really like blueberries. Whether you like blueberries or not, you should be eating them, because they're incredibly amazing for you. In fact, they're one of my 17 superfoods. So if you're not eating blueberries, find a way to love them, because they're great for you. But I wanted to grow them there in my backyard. And I laid out my garden. I left a spot for the blueberries that I thought would be a good spot. And I went and I put in the efforts to go and search out the highest rated cultivars of blueberry plants that I could find. I mailed away for them. I had them come, and I planted multiple of these plants. Everything had been figured in the acquisition of these plants so that I would have really healthy, successful plants year after year after year. And I got these plants and I placed them lovingly into the soil that I had prepared for them, and I tended these plants carefully. I put effort in every single day. I would go and I would weed around the plants, and I would do what I needed to do to mulch around the plants, and I would water the plants and put all the care and work into the plants that I believe they required in order to really give me a successful result of having this amazing superfood growing right there in my backyard. But you know what happened? They initially looked okay, and then they fell off a little bit. And they suffered more, and they suffered more, and they suffered more. And the plants just weren't thriving. They weren't growing the size that I wanted. The leaves weren't that nice, rich green that I wanted them to be. When blossoms came, they were few. They didn't look to be very good quality. The fruits never grew in and matured. And I was so mystified because I put so much effort into trying to make sure that I had the right plants. And they were the result I really wanted. They were the fruit I really wanted. And I just was not getting to where I needed to be with those blueberries. And so I called in some help, and I learned a very important lesson, that when I called in professional gardening help and they came and they looked at what I was doing, they said, there's nothing you can do at this point to get the result that you want out of these blueberries. And it's because the environment in which these plants have been forced to take root is not conducive to their growth and their well-being and their thriving and their production of healthy fruits. There was almost everything wrong. The place that I'd selected, the sunlight wasn't quite right for those blueberries. The soil actually was of a sort, when it was tested, that was not conducive to growing big, healthy blueberries. And on top of that, I had an outside irritant in that there was a family of squirrels that lived nearby that would come and they would dig around. They would plant things, they would dig things up, they would do all sorts of crazy things that messed with these plants. And so no matter how much effort I put into, no matter how badly I wanted these blueberries, the environment that had been created there was not supportive of these blueberries ever growing. And I left with no blueberries. I put all that effort in and I left without the result that I wanted. And I've done the same exact thing in my health, in my life as well. I think back to one of the very first times that I detoxified, and I know I shouldn't tell these stories publicly because obviously, I have the greatest example on the planet in Dr. Linda Nelson, the literal godmother of this detoxification process is my example growing up. And you would think it would be something that would be easy for me, and it wasn't. Early on, it wasn't easy for me. I know how badly I needed to do it. I knew the impact that was there for me positively in my life if I got in and I detoxified and I paid attention to my health. But one of the very early times that I tried detoxifying, I had a real environment problem that derailed me, that kept me from the result I wanted, and probably honestly took me backward. And that was that I began a detoxification right at a time that was over a summer holiday where my very favorite cousins were coming in from out of town and were going to be spending some time with me, and we were going to the state fair for a couple days of the time that we were spending together. With 2020 hindsight, I understand this was not a wise time to pick to detoxify because the environment I was about to put myself into was not going to be supportive of this process and change that I wanted to go through. And as you can probably fill in the story, I got started on my detoxification. I was out to a strong beginning, and the first day of my juices went really, really well. By the second day, my cousins were there. We went to the state fair, and after doing a great preparation, putting in all those efforts, doing a great first day cleanse, we ended up at the state fair, and I won't give you guys all the gnarly details, but suffice it to say, the environment of being there in the state fair, the environment of having the influence of these cousins who were not in harmony with the changes I was trying to make and the healthy moves I was trying to make, resulted in me eating a bunch of garbage that I should not have eaten, and resulted in me feeling really, really sick. I don't know if I've ever felt so bad in my life as I felt after that short stopping my detoxifying cleanse with the most terrible food choices you possibly could. But it was another great lesson in my life on ensuring that the proper environment has been created to support your success. And that's one thing that I need you to keep in mind as we move into this season of setting New Year's resolutions is, are you working to create the environment to support the changes that you want to make? Because your environment can either be the greatest handicap, it can either stop you from those changes that you're trying to make, no matter how hard you work on them, or it can become an incredible accelerant in supporting and moving you toward the positive changes that you want to make in your life. And that's exactly what we want you to be able to do, is to have a really positive impact from your environment that has been set up specifically to support the goals and the changes that you are trying to reach in this new year. And so I want you to put some thought in now on what changes not only you need to make in your behaviors. We're all really good with behaviors, right? I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to get to bed earlier. I'm going to be going to the gym every day. I'm going to be, limiting these bad foods in my diet. I'm going to be increasing these good foods in my diet. I'm going to do a detoxification. I'm going to include these healthy supplements. All these behavior things we normally focus on very, very easily, but we often leave out the environment. What has to happen in your environment to support those healthy changes so that all the effort you're putting in is not wasted and in fact is actually enhanced and pushed forward by your environment? Your environment is a tool for you, not a hindrance for you. So I want you to think about those changes. I want you to make a list of what actually has to happen, and I want you to get to work making those changes. So what changes need to be made in your kitchen, in your pantry, in your fridge, in materials that you have there to cook with, and basic ingredients that you have there to cook with? What changes there need to be in place to support the new you want? What changes have to be in with household products? Are you committed to detoxifying your lifestyle, yet retoxifying your environment continually with cleaners, with scented products, with detergents for your clothing? Has that been paid attention to? Are you watching out in your environment for those things that are actively undoing the work that you are putting in to try to get to someplace better? Is your support system, is the environment of your support system in place? And I'm not saying stop all your relationships. This isn't a subtraction game with your support system. This is an additive game. Have you added in the proper support system to make sure that the changes you want to make are understood, that your commitment is understood, that it's honored, that it's valued, that it's supported, and that people will become your support towards reaching those changes rather than, again, a hindrance, which can so easily happen. I can go on stories like that were crazy about positive change that I tried to make where I had the wrong support system to help me, and it ended up being something I'd fight through rather than something that lifted me up and pushed me forward. And then lastly, your schedule. Is your schedule been set up in such a way, the environment of what you have on your plate schedule-wise, in order to allow and support and move forward in momentum all the positive changes that you're trying to make? That's a lot to think about. But if you get these things in place, you'll be able to use your environment as both a weapon in this fight for somewhere better and as a defense against those outside attacking forces that are trying to keep you away from your goal. And that's exactly the environment that I want you to have.
Okay, that kind of ended abruptly, didn't it? Okay, so first of all, what'd you think of it? Make any sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we want to talk about environment. Now, when I say environment, I don't necessarily mean the air we're breathing. That's part of it, obviously. But our environment includes a lot of things. Our environment includes so many things that are thoughts in our head and what we're doing and how we're doing it and why we're doing it, etc. Oftentimes, like I said earlier, people say, I want. And it doesn't matter, do I want to be healthy? Do I want to have enough money? Do I want this? But people oftentimes don't think about everything they have to do to get there. So because we're talking about health, we're going to kind of stick with that subject. Now, new year, you've heard this 1,000 times, new year, new you. You've heard of, nothing got broke.
Sorry.
We talk about New Year's resolutions and I'm going to be different and et cetera, et cetera. But what does it take to get there? Okay, what do we have to do to make that happen? And most of it comes from up here in our head. We have to plan, we have to do it. If you watch TV much, right now, everything is about weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, weight loss, okay? And it's always easy, all right? Have the food shipped to your door, okay? So all you have to do is open up your door and the food is there and all you do is heat it and then you can eat it. And Nutrisystem says, they got actors on there that are getting paid a lot of money to tell you, the food, just eat the food and you'll lose the weight. Well, if it was that easy to be healthy, how many people would be unhealthy? Okay, if you think about it, all right? Being healthy, just like anything else in life, is not easy. So we have to set it up so that it works for us and understand there's no gain without some pain, period. It absolutely. Would I love to stay healthy, keep my weight down, stay off of medications, and never have to detox? and be able to eat what I wanted to, of course I would. I would love that. Okay. But it can't be. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about, and you can, if you have questions you want to ask or throw things out, please do. First of all, how many of you set up New Year's resolutions this year? Okay, good. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I expect to see some hands go up. Okay. New Year's resolutions is a farce. Okay. You either why do people say I'm going to start the first of the year? Because it's procrastination. We procrastinate, and we use that as a start date. Okay. And then what happens is we get into these fads. We get into a lot of fads, like I mentioned about some of these companies that you're going to lose weight if you just do this and if you just do that, etc. What we have to do is we have to put it in our mind. It doesn't matter if it's January 1st, July 1st, December 1st, certain things we have to do to take care of ourselves. Now, how many of you, I want to see a show of hands, want to be truly in your heart, want to be healthy? Okay, I'm glad everybody raised their hand. Okay, we're on the right track. Okay. How many of you really believe in your heart that you're willing to put in the effort and the work to get there? Okay.
Mine's a half of a hand.
I have a hand.
That's even more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Because if you're not willing to put the effort in, then obviously it's very, very hard to plan. It's very hard to plan to be well if you're saying, well, if it comes around, it's okay. If I get a little bit better, then I'm better than I was, etc. But I'm going to tell you, people that abuse their body and then end up in a hospital, end up in a nursing home, I guarantee you those people are saying, I wish I would have done something before. I wish I would have taken care of myself and done the things I needed to do so I wouldn't be here. All right. I can guarantee you that. But we don't think about that until that time comes. And then again, hindsight. Okay. It's always easy to say what I should have done. It's much harder to say what I'm going to do. So, how do we set up our environment? What is our environment? Environment equals a lot of times people. The people you are around. I'm going to ask for another show of hands. How many of you have told people that you're going to detox and they tell you you're nuts? That's not good for you. Okay? Just a couple of you, okay? But you know what? Those are the same people. What you have to think about is what are those people doing for themselves? Are those the same people driving through McDonald's? All right. So it's okay to put fast food and garbage in your body all the time, but Lord forbid you don't eat for 3 days. I want you to be thinking about yourself. And unfortunately, we don't think about ourselves. We listen to the other person and think they must be right. And we do that because it's easier. Human nature is we're going to take the easy way out. So if I'm getting ready to detox and my buddy says, you know what, let's go play golf and have some beers instead, because you know what, not eating for 3 days is not healthy. Then that means what they're telling me is drinking the beers is healthy. All right. So it doesn't make sense, but that's an easy way to do it, to go that direction and justify and say, well, I'm going to do this because my buddy wants me to. How many of you have been planning on detoxing, but somebody said, hey, let's go somewhere. We're going to go to a party. We're going to do this or that. So I can't. Anybody? All right. What happens is we put everybody else first. Everybody is first except for us. Who should be first in your world? Steph, who should be first? Yay. All right. Go ahead, Steph. You unmuted. Go ahead. Answer the question.
Me,
Me. Why?
because Nick said him. So
I think you were supposed to say Nick, Steph.
no.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, you have to be first in your world before anything and everything. Because the healthier you are, the better you are to take care of those people that are around you. Period. Show me a sick person that can take care of people. Show me somebody who can't function that can do all the things that they need to do for their family, for their friends, whatever it might be, and do it effectively. It doesn't work. So first and foremost, you have to believe in yourself. You have to surround yourself with people that have your best interest at heart. All right. And don't just come and shoot out and say, you know what? It's not healthy to do that. And there are many, many people that do that. We have to learn, and in order to set the stage, when you shop, you have to shop for the food you can eat. I remember sitting with Dr. Nelson and Patty and having a conversation about
You're gonna talk about me?
Yeah. having a conversation about families and this and that and how things work. And Patty made mention, well, my family doesn't want to eat the things I want to eat and stuff like that. And Dr. Nelson said, who does the shopping? And you said,
I do.
and she said, then you have now become an accomplice. Okay. So they tell you to buy something that's unhealthy, and you say, okay, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever to the girls and husband, okay, I'll bring it home. Okay. You become the accomplice because you're putting it in front of them. If you put something in front of me, if my parents put something in front of me, or when I was married, something was on the table, I was going to eat it. Okay. That was just the way it is. So if you're doing the shopping, you have to set the environment to say, this is what we're going to eat. Because if it's not in the house, how easy is it to eat? If it's in the house, how easy is it to eat? It's instantaneous. Okay. We are going to do it. So if you don't have the bread in the house, you can't have the sandwich, can you, Maureen? Okay. You can't do it. All right. So we have to understand, we have to set the stage. We have to bring the food in the house that you know is healthy. That's it. When you're going to eat things, you have to set the stage and say to yourself, instead of having a bag of nuts or whatever it is and put the bag next to you, you have to take some and put it on a plate or a dish and tell yourself, this is all I'm going to eat. Is there anybody out there that said, I'm going to eat some chips, and next thing you know, the bag's gone? Okay. It happens all the time. Okay. What happens is because we're not planning, we're flying by, for lack of better words, the seat of our pants. We're just saying, you know what? I'm going to have some chips. And the next thing you know, the bag is gone. Now, unless you're on a structured program, I'm not going to tell you never have some chips. I'm never going to tell you never have some nuts. I'm never going to tell you not to have a dessert. But if you've got a whole pie sitting there, you're probably going to eat little bits at a time. And mentally, what we say is, I'm not eating that much. But next thing you know, the pie pan's empty. Somebody ate it, unless you got mice in the house. All right? Somebody ate it, and it was you. So you have to set your environment in order to make it work for you and your health, because that's all we have is health. And oftentimes we think we're doing the right thing. We think we're doing it. Why? Because we don't read ingredients, because we don't understand what our BMR is and how many calories do we need in a day in order to keep our body healthy. We don't measure how much water we're drinking. We just say, I've drank a lot of water. How much is a lot of water? And sometimes we think we've drank a lot of water, but we haven't. So what we have to do is we have to understand, just like you go to work and you do the things you want to do, you have to take care of yourself, and you have to do it every single day. How many of you have gone periods of time without taking your supplements? Okay, one, two hand. Why? Tell me why. I love somebody to come unmute themselves and tell me why.
Ran
Because I
out.
forget.
Go ahead, Ann.
She said we forget.
Because I forget.
Okay. Okay. So I like that answer. Okay. How many times have you forgotten to eat in a day?
Never.
Okay. How come we can remember to eat every day, but we can't remember to take the nutrients that our body needs every day? I don't understand it. How many days have you forgotten to brush your teeth? How many days have you forgotten to take a shower? How many days have you forgotten to get up out of bed? I mean, it makes no sense. But it becomes an afterthought. It becomes, you know what, if I have time, if I feel like it, etc. And the longer we go without doing something, the less we're going to do it. And it seems like it's okay not to do it. So how many of you have went periods of time where you didn't exercise and you knew you should have exercised? Okay. Why don't we exercise? You point at me?
No, I didn't mean to. I turned, so and then I was pointing at me.
Well, it would be true if you're pointing at
raised
me,
the
but I
wrong
didn't know
hand.
how you knew. So, you all know that once you get out of that habit of exercising, how hard it is to get back into it, right? Okay. It's a given. But once you start doing it and you feel better, what do you want to do? Exercise. You want to exercise. So what happens is, what I'm trying to get across is that you want to feel good so that it's like a snowball. It just keeps getting better and better and better. All right. Yeah, we have to start thinking about what can we do for ourselves. And we have to be in harmony with thinking about good health and what is the road to get there. Okay. There's a road to get there. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by doing it 2 days a week and once in a while when I feel like it, or etc. It is, you either do it or you don't. You either love yourself enough to do it or you don't. There's no in between. So I would ask you, all of you that have children, that have people in your family, how many times have you forgotten to pick the kids up from school? How many times? Look at him. How many times? How many times have you not fed them?
Oops.
Okay, oh, you know what? I forgot to make dinner. No, it doesn't happen. Okay, why? Because you'll say, because I love my kids. I can't let them go hungry. But at the same time, we'll say, well, I don't need to do this and I don't need to do that and I don't need to detox and I can put it off and et cetera, because we don't care enough about ourselves and our ultimate goal that says, this is where I want to be. And that's what we have. That's what I want everybody thinking about this year is, where do I really want to be? Do I want to be healthy? If I do, then I have to do the same things all the time. I have to do them. If I don't care, that's another thing. And that would be another discussion that we can have, okay, at some point. All right. Being well becomes a habit. Being sick becomes a habit. Everything's a habit. All right. How many of you have a lot of habits? Good habits. Okay. A good habit is you get up in the morning, you get ready for work, you clean up, you do the things you have to do, you become presentable, you go to work and you do your job. How about the people that say, I don't feel like working, I'm not going to go to work? Okay. Is that a habit? Yes, absolutely is. It becomes a habit. I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like exercising. I don't feel like it. I'm just not going to do it. And that's what happens. We start spiraling in the wrong direction. And once we do, it's very hard to bring it back. Okay. So what do you have? Support system. That's what I want to talk about. Support system. Get a support system. Who is your support system? It may not be somebody in your house. Might not be. I deal with a lot of couples where one person is taking care of themselves, the rest of the family won't. Okay. That does not mean that you should just go with the flow and go with the crowd. It happens all the time, but you need to find support system. When you're trying to be healthy or anything else in your life, if you're trying to do it standing on an island all by yourself, surrounded by the crowd that's booing you and telling you you're wrong, it's really hard to stay on track. And let me tell you, if you're really and truly into taking care of yourself, you are in the minority. I'm reading a book by a woman by the name of Dr. Sapphire. And she's talking about the reason why people don't take care of themselves. Complacency, okay? No sense of urgency. Blame. It's always something else, you know. If McDonald's food was healthier and I, you know, because I eat it, I wouldn't be as sick. If I had more time in my life and I didn't have to work so hard, I'd be able to cook and I wouldn't have to buy pizzas all the time and drive-throughs. Then also we have medical coverage. If I get sick, I'll just go on some kind of coverage and the medical system will take care of me. That's not a support system. That is a sick system. We have to understand who is responsible for your health. Who is responsible?
We are.
You are. Absolutely. I am responsible for my health. Nobody else. Not Patty, not my doctor, nobody's responsible but me. And my actions every single day dictate what my health is. And every year when I get my physical, I look at that. I can't wait to see the results so I can see everything in line. That's my goal. And for the last 20 years, that's the way it's been. Why? Not because I'm perfect, but because I just said I will never go back to being sick. Never. It's too hard. It's terrible to be sick. For those of you who've been sick, have really struggled with health, it is horrific. And it is so wonderful to be well, but you don't get well and stay well by accident. You have to work at it. What do you got? You want to show some of the other stuff? Okay, let's open it for questions. Huh?
Yeah, questions. Well, we have a comment here that came out earlier. I think that's Norris. Is that you? Commitment, planning, being mentally ready. That's good.
Yes,
Mentally
Patty. Yeah, that's
ready.
me. When John asked
Okay.
the question, yeah, it's okay.
So mentally.
Okay. Now let's talk about being mentally ready. Okay, and that's good. You know, we always say people have to be ready to get well. My question is, what makes us ready? There are people that haven't been mentally ready for years. I know people. I got a call yesterday from a lady who begged her brother to come and see us because she had done our program and she'd done so well and he was so sick. And she begged him. She kept calling me saying, did he call you? Did he call you? He said he was going to. Nope. Well, then she said, I guess he's not mentally ready. I got a call yesterday. He's no longer on this earth. Okay. So I don't know what getting mentally ready is. What do we do? Now, I know he's never going to be mentally ready now. Okay. We have to understand that we can't wait for it to happen. We have to make it happen. Okay. We have to. And this gentleman was only in his 60s. Wasn't elderly, nothing like that. He was in his 60s. Took a turn for the worse, wouldn't do anything, got put on a whole bunch of medications, and 10 days later, gone. All right. So we have to take care of it. We can't rely on medicine. We can't rely on drugs, etc. What other questions do we have? Yeah. Go ahead. Show those other ones. We got some better
Oh.
slides, right?
So it's long.
Well, it's all right. We'll just
All
cover.
right.
Hey,
So
John,
Yes.
what have you found to be the most effective way to not necessarily convince someone, but get through to someone who has been trying to do something for themselves, but all the wrong things?
I feel that the only way you can convince somebody to do something is to show them by example. If people see you taking care of yourself and that impresses them, that's probably the greatest way to get somebody to change. Okay. If I don't take care of myself and I'm telling, let's hypothetically say it was Patty, you need to do something, you need to do something. She's not going to listen because why would she? Now, there are some people that will not take care of themselves no matter what they see or hear, no matter what, they just won't. And men are more guilty of that than women, to be real honest with you. Okay. We have this tendency to say, I'm fine, it's okay, I don't need it, etc., much more than women. But the only way truly to do it is to set the example and just let people see you or somebody else that has changed their life and that they can relate to and see it. That's about the only way that it works. Now, I hope Taylor doesn't mind, but he went through a program not that long ago and did fabulous. And his wife saw the change in him, and she is now on board, and she's doing fabulous as well. Okay, am I right, Taylor? I mean, Norris. Norris still with us?
Yes, John, I had to unmute. Yes, that's true. Here she is. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Wave, Veronica.
Hello, John.
Okay. And Veronica, to be again, if I talk too much, Veronica, you tell me shut up, okay?
Okay. Go
But
ahead.
Veronica did not think she could do it. She told me many times, I just can't do that. I can't. Am I right?
That's true.
But she saw Norris do it, and all of a sudden she went, well, you know what? I saw the change. I need to change. So she jumped on board, and she has just been just outstanding. Okay. And so the thing is, to go back to the question, let them see somebody who's changed their life. That's the best way to try to help somebody you care about to get on the right track.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, the person that I'm talking about is actually obviously seen the transformation that I've gone through, but they do try. The latest thing is a keto diet, and I'm just rolling my eyes going, oh my God. But, you know, at least they're trying to do something. I just don't know how to get across that just eliminating so much out of your diet is not healthy.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, and I get this even with our programs, I get people that say, I'm going to do the program that, say, Mark did, but I'm not going to do the supplements. I'm just going to do the lemon juice. Okay. And we tell them it's not going to work. Well, what people want to do is take and pick little things that they want to do and try to plug that in and say, this is a way to do it because I saw somebody. Those kind of people you're not going to perhaps convince. All you can do is try to tell them, go to a professional, just like Dr. Nelson mentioned earlier. When he called in a professional and said, this isn't working, you know, you're not going to get the end result. If you can get the person to go to a professional to give them professional advice and the knowledge, then a lot of times that opens their eyes so that they can see that there's other ways or the wrong, what they're doing wrong. Okay. But you can't take it upon yourself to think you're going to make somebody do something because you can't. You just can't.
No.
Right? So last month, somebody mentioned, what was that?
So somebody put a comment again.
Okay. Somebody said, I've been living with my mother since Christmas and normally live alone. There are sweets here and more carbs like popcorn. I'm finding myself eating these foods, getting discouraged, need to get back on track. Any suggestions? Yes. Okay. My suggestion is your mother is there and your mother is set in the idea that she's going to have those sweets. Okay. But the unfortunate thing is that we get in our head is because mother's eating it, I need to eat it. Okay. somewhere we have to make that decision. Mom, husband, wife, whoever it might be, that's yours. But I would not buy it for my mom. I would not buy it for that person, because I go back to the conversation that Patty had with Dr. Nelson. If you do and you're bringing in the sweets for them, you are now
Enabler.
an enabler. Okay. You're saying, you know what, it's not healthy to do that, but here, you have some, because mom or whoever it might be, kids complain that they don't have it. Well, if it's not healthy for you, why are we bringing it and putting it on their lap? Okay. And if they insist and they bring it in, or whatever the case may be, that does not give you free reign to say, I'm going to eat it. So what you're doing is you're saying, for the person that put this note out, you know what? Eating with my mom and the bad foods that she's eating is more important than eating good foods and taking care of myself. So if you start eating the right foods, maybe mom will start deciding she needs to eat the right foods and eat with you rather than the other way around. We have a tendency to give in to way too easy to the negative.
I have a question, John, to Judy. But if that person only has 1 or 2, and I might eat more, but isn't there such thing as moderation? And that's their choice if they want that, but it's just a matter of me being more disciplined.
Well, yes, it's everybody's choice as to what they eat. I mean, if I leave here and go to McDonald's and get 2 quarter pounders with cheese, that's my choice, my decision. And, you know, I might say that's moderation, you know, just depends on what I feel is moderate. Okay. But what you need to do is just say, I am not eating that. I'm not going to eat it, period. If you learn to do that pretty soon, because if I went to McDonald's and had a quarter pounder, I guarantee tomorrow morning I'd be sick. Okay. Because I haven't had one in 20 plus years. I'd be sick. Okay. So if you go long enough without the stuff, then pretty soon when you do eat it, you're not going to feel well. And that's normally the best way not to do it. Okay. Because you only have to put your hand on the stove, hot stove, so many times, and you should learn not to put your hand on the hot stove. How about that, Maureen? How'd you like that? Okay, there's another one. How about having an alternative when mom wants the unhealthy foods? Unhealthy foods, then you could pick yourself, snack or meal, yes, you just have an alternative. You can still eat with mom, but just have an alternative, something that you enjoy, like carrots and hummus or something like that, and you can snack with her. Okay.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
If I can just say something really quick, I have a quote that I'm going to give that my mom did. She had a magnet and it said, "Nothing tastes as good as thin feels." And so now I would change, "Nothing tastes as good as feeling healthy," or being healthy feels.
Right.
That kind of thing. So when you're looking at something that is desirable, just keep that mantra in your head that nothing you eat is going to taste as good as how great you're going to feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And feeling, for those of you who don't feel well, all I can tell you is when you start feeling well, there's a lady on here, I was hoping that she would have joined us. She's a principal in a school in New York City. And after the first week of her program, in fact, she's coming to West Hartford tomorrow to do her services, but she's driving up. And she said, after about a week on the program, she said, I was going through the school, running up and down the stairs. Normally, I would never use the stairs. I'm going up and down the stairs. I've got energy. People are looking at her like, what drug are you on? But she said it felt so good to be able to do that and have that energy for a change, where before it was sluggish. Today I talked to another young lady, her name is Leslie. And she said, you know, just the first week of a program, the swelling in her ankles are gone. She said, my stomach is starting to go down. I just feel so good and so happy that I forced myself to do it. Now, after she's done with the program, can they go back and end up the same way? Of course. Absolutely. If you don't maintain a good, healthy lifestyle, and I look at health and my faith very, very similar. I can get caught up in something and be into faith really hard and then fall out and be back to where I was before. It's something you have to maintain and be thinking about every single day, every single meal, every single time you go shopping. You've got to be thinking, what is healthy? What isn't? And sometimes people will say, that's too much effort. Well, if it's too much effort, then when you're sick, it's going to be too much effort being sick. All right? Because when you end up in a hospital, they don't serve you good, healthy food. So those of you who've ever been in a hospital, they do not serve you healthy food. Okay? So if you want to eat unhealthy, be unhealthy, go to the hospital and you can eat all the unhealthy food you want. So I know that's kind of off the far end, but still. Okay? Okay. Who else has a question? A thought? How about you, Mark, out there in California?
Yes. So with COVID, you know, we've had a different environment. Like you can't go to the gym, and some people do go to the gym. It's a toxic environment where those locations are because they don't mask, they don't keep it clean. So I moved to a Tai Chi on Zoom. I did the detox. I think it was in the spring, and I suddenly hit my weight goal for the first time in 10 years, and felt energetic. And I started doing physical work outside and inside my house and built muscles, got strong, was eating better, drinking more water, taking supplements. And then we started traveling. And every time we travel, of course, with the COVID restrictions, you go in, you're in kind of a box environment. You can't do the normal exercise things that you used to. It's very tight. So we even spent 2 weeks in Hawaii in pure quarantine in one room. Actually, we were two. But bottom line is, it gets that tough. And so it was very difficult. So we started putting on the extra pounds, came back, energy level got down. So we said, we have got to do this again and get going and make it more regular. So a vote and a shout out for those that have done the detox. I'm thrilled to be part of that because my friends who are healthy, that's what they do.
Great.
But again, COVID is tough. It's the hardest thing. Any suggestions on coping in a COVID environment with the uniqueness there, at least until we're all up and vaccinated?
Well, COVID, yes, it is tough. But you know, one thing COVID has forced a lot of people to do is eat, cook at home,
Yes.
do more things at home rather than going out. So it's not all, for as far as the eating goes, it's probably brought people back into their kitchen. Now, whether they're cooking the right things or not, that's a whole different story. But you know, we can go to the grocery store and all that stuff. Wherein a lot of people were going to the restaurants way too much. Okay. And that's kind of brought some of that back to make it a little bit better. The idea of COVID is, so because of the isolation, we've found that a lot of people are becoming more depressed, more down. And therefore, when we become depressed and down, what do we want to do? We want to lift our spirits. And a lot of times that's through the use of sugars and caffeines and the different things like that, because it makes you feel good for the moment rather than the long term. Okay. And obviously, when you do the sugar, you're going to get the spike and then you crash. And that crash creates more depression. And so it becomes a roller coaster. When I do my Zyto scans, emotions have been off the chart on everybody. In fact, Mark, you might want to talk to me about that. I talked to Charmaine about getting you guys a test out there. But
Yeah, she did. I'm very interested, very, very much so.
Okay. And I talked to her about that yesterday. So, but you know, what you have to do is just understand if you're going to eat at home, you're going to do your own cooking, cook healthy. That's the bottom line. Somebody brought up last month, they wanted to talk about eating for blood type. How many of you have ever heard about eating for blood type? Okay. Now, I'm gonna say some things here, and we can agree or disagree, and it doesn't matter because I'm very open to most anything. Obviously, I have my own opinion. Some studies that have been done, and this particular person is a naturopathic doctor by the name of Peter Adamo, who came out with an idea of blood type. I personally do not believe in it. I'm just going to come on the line and say that. I believe that if you eat healthy, that for those of you who've been through a program, you eat off the Candida list, you will be healthy, period. Which means vegetables, lean proteins, low carbs, okay, and lots of fluid, water. But what I'm going to give you is, and Dr. Nelson agrees with it, Dr. Linda Nelson, Patty and her had a conversation about it, and she kind of believes this is a way to, a fad to a degree. But they broke it down and said that if you're type O blood, your diet should be heavy on lean meat, poultry, fish, and vegetables, and light on grains, beans, and dairy. In reality, if that's the way we ate all the time, we'd be healthy. Okay? Lean protein, lots of vegetables, fish, and light on the grains and dairy. Okay? Now he goes on to say that, type O needs perhaps more supplementation because to break things down. I don't know if I agree with it. Type A blood, he's saying should be a meat-free diet. So no meat. Now, I don't believe in any person saying, I'm not going to get protein. I just don't believe that. I believe that your body needs a variety. Okay? So if you take away fish and lean protein and you say, I'm not going to have it, we find that people, when they come with their blood work back to us, their numbers are way off the chart. They're not healthy. The human body, if you go way back to historic days, they ate what from the earth? They ate plant. They ate a lean protein. Of course, they had a lot of exercise. There was no carbs. They walked, etc. But they say that type B, avoid corn. I believe everybody should. They say no wheat, no lentils, no tomatoes, no sesame seeds, and chicken is problematic. Well, if you take all that away, I mean, there's a lot of nutrients in it. Type AB says you should eat things like tofu, seafood, dairy, and green vegetables, and that they have low stomach acid. So avoid caffeine, alcohol, and smoked or cured meats. But that's pretty much things you should avoid anyway, no matter what, in my opinion. Okay. So I personally do not believe in it. I believe that if you get the proper exercise, you drink your water, and you eat healthy, and again, I go back to, I hope nobody's sitting there saying, John is saying that I can never, ever have a dessert. That'd be foolish. You can, unless you're on a Candida program. For those of you, Linda and Mary and, okay, those are out for right now. All right. But they should be limited. They should be treats, not the norm. Not the norm. If we don't eat late at night, you're going to be much healthier. Eating before bed will make you unhealthy, period. All right. So if you eat just like, intermittent fasting, I'm not a fan of intermittent fasting, period. Because most people intermittent fast, they get done with the 16 hours that they can't eat. And when they do eat, they eat way too much because they're starving. I believe in the animal theory, graze. Eat often, but eat small and eat healthy. Okay? Often, small, and healthy. That's it. Same thing with detoxing. One of the problems that people have sometimes with detoxing, their 3 days are up. Sometimes what's their mind want to do? catch up. Okay, overeat, because your brain is saying you haven't eaten for 3 days. I get people saying things like, you know, at midnight on the third day, we're going to get up and eat. I've heard that many times. Okay. You don't want to do that. Okay. You want to start eating in the morning because that's when your body needs the nutrition. You get up at midnight and eat, and then you go to bed. Your body has to break it down and it's stored into fat. So, will your body have cravings of the food that your blood type require according to the blood? No, it does not. They don't say that. But again, if you eat that way, you'll want to eat that way. So you will have cravings. If you eat sugars, you're going to have cravings for sugars. If you eat lean protein, you're going to have lean cravings for that. If you eat vegetables, I know for me, there are times I get up in the morning and I'll steam a big bowl of vegetables and have that for breakfast because I'm just craving vegetables. I wake up and I think I just need some vegetables. People say, oh, that's weird. Well, I used to get up and eat bran flakes with lots of sugar on them and milk. Okay. And that's what I used to do. And I used to crave it. I couldn't wait to eat my Wheaties because I thought Wheaties were healthy because it said on TV, if you eat Wheaties, you could run marathons. Never quite made the marathon thing, but I ate a lot enough Wheaties. So, but again, you will crave the things that you constantly put in your body.
Like water.
Like water. I was just going to say, I've told many people, and Patty will attest to this, and probably Deb. If I walk out of my office, even though I'm going to the post office, and I forget my water, I'll pull the car back in, jump out of my car, and run in, and half the time Patty's at the door saying, "You forgot your water," because it's like it's connected to me. It's my addiction. Okay, so that's the thing. We become addicted. Our body becomes addicted to what we constantly do for it, whether it's exercise, whether it's unhealthy or healthy. And Mike posted, it might have been the pictures on the Wheaties box that did it. You're probably right. It was that guy pole vaulting about 100 feet in the air that I thought I could do. So, okay, what other questions do we have? Anybody else? Yes, Bob.
I'd like to give a shout out to Patty and just mention in what you're saying here, John, if you find something that you like to eat, that's a good solution for the problem as well. And that recipe that she sent out for the vegetable soup was, I really enjoy it. It's really good. So thank you, Patty.
It's much better than that soup we were eating.
And if you haven't tried that recipe, I highly recommend it to everybody. Mr. Hogan, did you just hear that?
I will send it out again.
Okay, that's okay. Good. Okay, and what was this? Something different?
It just wasn't in the program packets. There's that simple veggie soup recipe, which I think Ann described it as cabbage and water. And so, there's more to it. I mean, pretty much any vegetable will do, whatever your liking is, but I'll forward that to everybody. And it's, after liquid days, it's great anytime. After we ended this last detox, I made a veggie soup. The next day I added some brown rice to it because I made a big pot. And then the third day I added chicken to it. So it's versatile. You can switch it out a few days.
Can you use a base of bone broth with that on that day? Because there's not really meat in that, but.
Yeah, you can use bone broth.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah,
Good.
good question.
Good. I'm glad people liked it in the chat.
Linda's got a question.
Hey, Linda.
Yes, I just wanted to catch the name of that gentleman that did the video. I didn't catch that name, the man.
That's Dr. Wally Nelson. He is he's the son of the woman who developed all this whole program.
Okay. And he's talking a lot about how important these superfoods are. And is that probably readily available, the specific 17 that he was talking about on the internet?
That's-
And how would those be incorporated if they don't meet the criteria of the Candida or whatever diet someone's using?
Okay, some of the superfoods you cannot have on the Candida program, but primarily everything on your Candida program basically is superfoods. But we have to take away the
Fruit.
fruit. Okay, so once you're healthy, then certain fruits become part of the superfoods.
Okay, thank you.
Who else has a question? Tony, what do you have?
Just unmuted myself. John, I'm just listening. I don't have any questions right now.
Okay, good. Who else has a question? Anybody else? I haven't heard from, who haven't I heard from? Claire, Georgiana, what about you?
Did Wally ever grow blueberry bushes?
No, he did not. No.
No?
He gave up because he was told he wasn't gonna get the quality he needed, that he was looking for. So, no, he gave up on it. The environment wasn't right.
He said if you liked blueberries, you should learn how to eat them. Eating them in ice cream, is that okay?
Yeah, but if you're gonna eat ice cream, it's better to have blueberries in them because then you got a superfood with the other food.
The balance.
Careful, that
In
might be
small
your
quantities.
Mm.
Hogan.
Yeah, right. Okay, hey, Mike, is your mic off, I hope?
You gotta
Now
make
it's
it
on, John, so.
for instant.
Okay, and Maureen, no ideas, okay? Okay, anybody else have a question? Judy, what fruits are allowed on no fruits on Candida at all. On Candida program, there are no fruits allowed. Now, if you want to call lemons and lime fruit, you can have all you want. Okay?
No, no green apples or,
No fruit.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you can get on the fruits, do you gradually add them like green apples and blueberries, which aren't quite as high in the, sugar,
Well, for
fructose?
those of you who have gotten a packet from us when we did a program, in the packet, there's a sheet that shows breakdown of vegetables and fruit and the percentage of carbs. What you really want to do is look at that list and then pick as much as you can, the fruits and vegetables with the lowest percentage of carb. Okay.
Mhm.
So, like for example, high carb on fruits is bananas. That's the highest. That and figs
And dates.
and dates. Those are high
I
carb.
love both of those.
Oh, my
It's so
favorite.
hard.
Yeah. Okay, those are high carbs, and you want to try to stay away from them as much as possible. Once in a while is okay, but not on a regular basis. Most people love when I tell them they can go back to fruit. One of the first comments is, I want a banana. That's not the way you want to start. You want your berries. You want the low percentage of carbs. If you want to stay as healthy as you can, especially people that are trying to keep their weight off, etc.
John, how about dried fruit that comes mixed with nuts sometimes, cherries and blueberries, but there is sugar in the ingredients? Are those not good?
Those aren't the best.
No.
They're concentrated and with sugar added. They're really just loaded with sugar and all that kind
Okay.
of good.
They're processed. So once you process a food, it becomes not healthy like it will be in a real form.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Does that make raisins bad?
Raisins?
Yeah, is that bad? Are raisins bad?
Raisins aren't real bad. They are.
They have a lot of sugar, aren't they? Don't they?
Yeah, they're higher in carb, but there's a lot of good quality in raisins. So raisins are kind of, for me, kind of the middle of the road. You can get addicted to raisins. Okay, you can start eating raisins and just keep eating them.
There's natural sugar in them, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So even though it's natural sugar, you want to be careful. But no, I'm not upset with people eating raisins. or
So
irrigation.
Ann, stop drying out your, stop having Bob dry out the grapes.
So I was just wondering, that trail mix that has the raisins in it with the M&Ms?
Yeah, and then you put,
Not so much the raisins, Ann. It's
That goes great on ice cream.
yeah, then you put that in your ice
With
cream.
the blueberries.
Blueberries. Here we go.
what a crew.
Yeah. Steph, is that part of your family yet?
No ring on her finger.
So, okay then. Nick, are you
I
still
have a
there?
question.
Yes.
Okay, Linda.
You had mentioned something about laundry soap and other chemicals, so topically and the things that, we have in our environment, how important is that to our health as far as really taking notice of it and making actual change?
Extremely important.
Mindful.
Extremely important. Everything like that has toxins if you're not careful. Okay. Now there are some brands that you can get that don't have the toxic waste. You're gonna pay a little bit more for it, but people have air fresheners. They have all kinds of things. Those are all toxins that we bring into our body. We breathe it in. Think about this. Most of the laundry detergents, the stuff you put in the dryer so things don't cling, those are all toxic. And those all enter in through your body, through the pores in your body, or through your breathing. So that becomes part of the environment as well as far as health. We not only, tonight we've been talking about food, but we need to look at, very good question, Linda, things that we do around us that we breathe and we put on our body. I always ask this question: how many people put lotions on their skin? And okay, you don't want to do that. Okay, first of all, it's very toxic. Number two, it blocks the pores of your skin. Your skin can't breathe. So there's so many things that I mentioned earlier. We think we're doing right, but we're not. And until we're educated on it, we continually put stuff on our body or do things to our body, and we just don't realize it. So it goes beyond the eating as well. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond, the chemicals that we breathe and we put on our body and we use on our clothes, etc. But it also comes with a mental thing. The people we're around, the stress that we have, the relationships we have, that's all toxic to the body. So there's so many things that happen in our life that becomes toxic. We've all heard about toxic relationships, right? There are toxic relationships that make us sick. All right. So we have to understand that and try to clean up our whole life, not just eating, but tonight was just about eating. But I'm glad, Linda, you brought that question up because yes, you should be looking at stuff like that. I believe in my heart of hearts that in 5 years from now, there's going to be commercials on TV that says, if you bought masks that you wore for a whole year, the ones that weren't cloth, et cetera, and you developed such and such a disease, you can get money. I believe that because those blue masks you put on, I had one here, but you smell those. There's a chemical in them. Okay. You're breathing that chemical in your body, exhaling and breathing it right back in. All right. So when I do my Zyto scans, I see all kinds of lung issues. A lady today we did, and her lungs were stressed, but she has to wear a mask every day at work, at least 8 hours a day, breathing carbon dioxide back into her body that's supposed to be expelled and gotten rid of. So there's so many things, but we got to start somewhere. We got to take the steps and realize that we've got to do some things to protect ourselves. Okay. And because of what we're talking about tonight was eating, but those are all wonderful ideas and things we need to look at.
Maureen, did you have a question?
Yeah, what's a good laundry detergent to use?
Well, I always use something that doesn't have any smell, the ones that say free and clear. And there's some, I'm sure, all natural organic brands that if you want to pay extra for. I just get one that doesn't have the smell.
Okay.
To me, that's seems a little bit better.
I use
Okay, thank you.
Melaleuca.
Write it down.
They have wonderful cleaning products, stuff like that. Their supplements got a lot of garbage in them, but their cleaning products are fabulous. Okay, and you only need tiny amounts of it. Just like when we talk about supplements or our lotions facial products, you only need tiny amounts because they're pure. Same thing when you get the right detergents, you only need a tiny amount of it because it's concentrated. But I can,
You'll see it online.
if anybody's interested, I can get you information on that. Who had a hand up? Okay, go ahead,
Veronica?
Veronica.
John, what do you think about using coconut oil or olive oil for the skin?
It's better than most of the stuff you buy, but it still blocks the pores. Okay, now, so Veronica, I'm going to ask you, why do you put lotions on your skin?
Oh, it's really dry.
Okay, we're dry skin because of what? Because we're dry inside. Our body heals inside out. If you have enough hydration, and as you continually get more hydration, get rid of the coffees and the seltzer waters and anything with carbonation, your skin will automatically become much less dry because you're dealing from the inside out. We never heal from the outside in. We always heal from the inside out. Okay, so try to keep that in mind.
I don't seem to have a problem in the summertime, the warmer months, but during the winter, I get real dry.
Yes, and one thing is in the wintertime, we have a tendency to drink less water because it's cold. The average person does not drink as much in the wintertime as they do in the summertime, and that's one of the reasons.
We're also around dry heat in
Yeah.
our houses and in the car.
Yep.
Got dry heat blowing on us.
And then you're in cold environment, then warm, cold, and it opens and shuts the pores. One thing I will tell you, and most of you are going to grimace when I tell you this, if you want good skin, when you take your showers, don't use hot water to start, but end your shower in ice cold water. Okay? I've been doing this for about 15 years or more. In the shower and turn on as cold as you can for 2 or 3 minutes, and your skin will start changing. Okay? And normally when I tell people that, I get this look like, oh, I don't think so. Okay? But if you really want to work on your skin, that's one thing you can do. Is very simple.
I do that, John. Is that because it closes the pores?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Because when you have hot water, it opens the pores. So you want to start out with hot water to cleanse. And then when you use a proper soaps and stuff like that, which most of your soap has a lot of toxins, but that's another subject, it absorbs. And then when you come out of the shower, you want the pores closed. And then when you close the pores, because there's a lot of bacteria in bathrooms in the air, you just can't avoid it. And therefore you want the pores closed. And therefore you eliminate a lot of the bacteria that can be absorbed through the skin.
Good,
Plus,
thank you.
I want to mention that General George Patton was a big fan of exactly what you're talking about. He tried to train his entire army to do that.
Oh, really?
And that was in the 40s. So,
Okay.
but I do have a question. Masking, as we come into a national mandate on masking, what is the best, healthiest mask in a mask environment? What should we use?
Cloth.
Cloth?
Cloth mask.
Cloth.
Yes. With no, a regular cloth with no chemicals.
Cloth, no chemicals. Got it.
The blue ones that they sell in packs of 10, 12, whatever,
Right.
and those things are loaded with chemicals. I know every time I put one on, I'll get a runny nose, I'll sneeze, and I feel dry. But so you want a cloth mask. Find somebody that makes them just out of a good material, and then wash them frequently. We have a tendency just to carry them and not wash them. You want to wash them and keep them clean, just like you would your clothes.
I started doing it only because, and even doubling up because those blue ones tend to, the stuff gets in your mouth.
Yeah,
I noticed they deteriorate just while wearing it one time.
and you can see how they fade in color and stuff too.
Yes, yes. So thank you for the advice, because
Thank you. You're welcome. Well, else? Anybody else have a question? I think this was good. I hope did anybody get anything good out of it?
I did.
fantastic.
Okay.
Yes, dry brushing is good for the skin.
Yes.
Exfoliating the skin. We have a service that we do, the Body Buff. We also have a product called Buff that you can purchase exfoliating the skin every 2 or 3 days is good. Or sorry, 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah, it's ideal twice a week to exfoliate, not every day. I get people, especially women, will say, I exfoliate every day. You don't want to do that. It's too much. But a couple times a week, whether it's your face or your whole body. Dry skin brushing, you always want to brush to the heart. Okay. It's great for circulation. Start on the ankles, work your way up. Your skin's dry before shower, whatever, and brush. And then from the upper torso and the arms, you just brush in. It takes 2 or 3 minutes, and it's really good for circulation for the lymph system. So a lot of times on our Zyto test, it shows that that's something that people need. That's for lymphatic. So if you get like under your arms, you get the lymph nodes get swollen, stuff like that. That means it's collecting waste. You want to brush that. You want to keep everything moving. Okay. Especially if you're not exercising. Okay.
John, there's a very good exfoliating washcloth out there. It's really long that you can put across your back to scrub your back.
Okay, good. Yeah. Anything that helps, anything that can get, but the key is you got to exfoliate periodically in order to keep your body right. Open the pores. The pores get plugged up just like anything else. Got to open them up. Anybody else have a question?
What
Anybody
is
have
the dry brush?
Pardon?
What is that dry brush that you were saying?
I'll email that information out to everybody.
Okay.
Does a loofah brush help?
Yeah.
Loofah?
Anything like that helps, yes. Anybody have any ideas what you want to talk about next month, which will be the 20th,
19.
well, 19th. Anybody have ideas they'd like to have a topic for so my producer can get ready?
I know we've talked about it before, but like going on with this whole theme of environment, is there like a way that especially people who are new to the program can sort of start with a basic stock of what they should have in their house and what they should have available for those binge cravings and just for general cooking, like Bragg's and sea salt, that kind of stuff, to get them started from a good base? Something like that?
That's pretty much your legal food list.